all. My name is Jasmine Jones. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. And this is a little show I like to call Therapist Tips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing Abbott Elementary Season 4, Episode 16 books. And we are sipping on absinthe and an apple manzanita that I got from King's Taco. How y'all doing? So, y'all know I like books, right? And this episode pissed me the fuck off. Like, I was fucking with my neurodivergencies and shit. This bitch tried to take these little children's book. Why you tried to see? Let's start off gently. Let's start off with just, not the main story. Let's start off with Gregory, Eddie, and Melissa. That's calm. Because as I was setting up to film, I was just walking around the apartment talking to my cat, just cussing this bitch out because she's a trifling asshole that's taking books away from children like the white people are taking books and getting rid of our history. And, but let's start off. I'm just a passionate person, and I got like neurodivergencies and shit, and I have to clock when shit is triggering my neurodivergencies because this shouldn't have me at a 10. This is a TV show. It's fake. But no, it's real. They taking books and burning them. So, Melissa. I don't like my neurodivergencies fuck with. I don't because then it's like an uncontrollable emotions that be popping up and shit. And people think I'm crazy. And I don't like people thinking I'm crazy, because that's embarrassing. Unless it's like I don't give a fuck because I really enjoy the thing that I'm doing and shit, so I don't really care what you think. But, for the most part, I don't like people think I'm crazy. But you know what? Fuck it. I am a passionate bitch, and I just need to embrace that shit because we need to be more passionate about wrong. Wrong is wrong. If we were more passionate about what's wrong in this motherfucker, we wouldn't be letting them motherfuckers burn them babies over there in Palestine and destroy the Congolese and the Sudanese and all these countries that these white people are destroying. Like, we need to be more passionate. So, I'm not going to shame myself. Positive self-talk, I'm not going to shame myself for who I fucking am, okay? Bitch took these babies' books and it was so horrible. I hated that bitch. So Melissa is, like I said in the last episode, how I felt that it was deeper than just the little hamster, rodent, gerbil, whatever the fuck that thing is. That's her baby though. That's her little pet. I can't. It's a guinea pig. There you go, the guinea pig. And how she was over there crashing out, talking about she was gonna kill herself if that guinea pig hadn't came into her life, right? Like, I was telling y'all, like, I think she's lonely. Like, I think she's lonely and she's not trying to admit that she's lonely and she wants more out of whatever the fuck was going on with that fireman than she's actually admitting to. And so, come to find out, yup. So, her ex-dude that had asked to marry her and shit like that, he's getting married, right? He came to the school to fill up the machines and he told her he's getting married. First and foremost, like, this nigga invited her to his wedding. Let my nigga invite some bitch nigga whatever that he put his penis in to my day. Oh God, I don't even know if I would even have the wedding at that point. I'd be like, why are you inviting this bitch to my day? Why are you inviting this nigga to my day? Why are you inviting somebody you put your dick in? I think I'm about to start rapping. Maybe I'm ovulating. No, ovulating's different. It's that luteal phase they be talking about and shit. Because I already had my period. Like, I don't know. It's an emotional bitch. Why would you invite somebody you put your penis in to my day? This is my special day, okay? No, it is. It's the bride's day, in a heterosexual marriage, it's the bride's day because the patriarchy controls everything else in the world. And so it is my right to feel special and have this nigga kiss the motherfucking ring on my day, okay? I don't give a fuck what you're talking about, okay? And if this nigga had the audacity to invite some motherfucker that he was fucking to my day, like, I don't care if you're friends with her now. Like, no, like, why are you? That's weird. It's messy and it's weird, and I didn't like it. So, but anyways, he invited her to his wedding day with another bitch. The bitch he used to fuck. That's so fucking weird. It's rude. It's fucking rude. Why would you do that? Like, that's so weird. I saw this Nollywood movie. No, it was a Tubi movie. And this nigga invited this woman to his ex to the wedding. And while they was sitting up there at the table, just eating, at the reception where the bride and the groom sit at the top of the table, this bitch gonna walk over in this skinty ass tight red dress and lean across the table and start talking to this nigga like this bitch ain't even sitting here. And I was just like, the pure, unadulterated audacity. I hated it. But he invites her, so she's like, well, I need a +1, so I'm going to invite the fireman, the fire chief. She hit the fire chief up, and she like, I need a +1, I want you to go. He's like, oh, no, well, I'm going to be busy that day. I'm going to the symphony with the bitch. Now, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, because I have a theory. I feel like the old nigga, the ex, he was moving through the relationship based off of only what he wanted out of the relationship. He wasn't moving through the relationship based off of like considering what Melissa wanted. So I think that's why he moved so fast and started talking about marriage out the clear blue sky after they'd probably been fucking for like a few months. And then, found out she didn't want to get married and then dipped, she don't want what I want. I feel like the fireman, he was cool to just move the way she was moving. He's cool to just chill and do what she want to do. I would not be surprised if eventually whatever, because I don't know if this, some people don't want to get married and it's this calm feeling. And it's just like, just apathetic. I don't really want to do that. And then some people don't want to do something because they've been traumatized. They view marriage like society has viewed marriage, and you got to have a nigga in your house all the time. You got to cater to this nigga. When in reality, if you meet the right person, you can form whatever fucking marriage you want to form. Like, look at Frida and the nigga that she married, Frida Kahlo. They lived in separate houses. Now, he was a cheater and shit, so apparently their shit wasn't copacetic like it should have been. But like, if it was, like, they had a house, 2 houses with a bridge across, and they was cool with that shit, Even Shirley Ralph said she don't live in the same house as her husband. Now, am I like that? No. I want to be in your motherfucking skin, nigga. But, that's the type of relationship I want, and I'm going to have that. But if you're the type that wants to live in a separate house or sleep in separate bedrooms or have your independence and your freedoms and all this other stuff, don't count out that there's niggas out there. We're just talking from a heterosexual perspective today, but, fill in the blanks for what you are. Don't rule out that there's niggas out there that would want to do that too and would be chill about it, like the fire chief. He was chill about it. I think he low-key, like, I don't 100% believe there was a date and there was a symphony. I low-key think he was fucking with her because he kind of wanted to be with her too. But, sometimes you got to go through the back door and finesse motherfuckers when they scared. And you got to scare them a little bit more to make them realize what they about to lose. And then when they realize they about to lose something, that's when they start moving faster. Like, wait a minute, I don't 100%. I took that with a grain of salt. I don't 100% believe that there was a date and there was a symphony and there was a such and such. It could have been, might have been, but the way he quickly just snapped that up and was like, oh yeah, sure, we can be together, like, exclusive. And what is exclusive? Like, I've had clients and friends and other people in television shows like talk about their dating exclusively. So why y'all not in a relationship? Because isn't that a relationship? I don't understand the difference. If we exclusive, then we go together, nigga. Like, that's the only thing that makes it not a relationship is you fucking other bitches and shit. Like, so Because I only have a one track mind. When I like somebody, I like you. I don't want to date multiple people. No, because I like niggas and I can't handle the emotional baggage of multiple niggas at once. So I don't have a roster. I don't. I'm focused on, I'm fixated on that one person, and that's why you have to show me enough, because I'm going to be fixated on you and you're going to fill that slot of partner in my brain. And I don't need it. I don't need nobody else. Like, no, I'm good. Like, no, he feels that I don't need, like, I don't want random niggas touching me, because random niggas got different smells and not all of them clean themselves properly, and not all of them do the skincare the way I like them to do the skincare and look pretty, and they don't shower properly, and they got different taste in their mouths and stuff, and you got to kiss them, and it's just a lot of different smells and textures, and I don't want a bunch of random niggas touching me. It's horrible. You looking at this like, this bitch is crazy. Oh well. Oh fucking well. Shit. And so I'm just like, I think that, there was a little bit, I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt. So anyway, she gets all anxious and shit, and then she's mad. So she comes to work the next day, stomping and storming around, talking about this team lost and this team lost and fuck this shit. And then so Jacob and Barbara is in the lunchroom, and they're like, "Are you okay, girl?" And she was just like, "No, I'm not okay." And then she tells him that this nigga's going to the symphony with some other bitch, and then Barbara was just like, "Well, girl, do you wanna like, do you like him? Like, do you want to like go together or some shit?" And she was just like, "Yes." And then Barbara was like, "Well, you should tell him that instead of like whatever the fuck this is, because it's disturbing. See, when you don't deal with your stuff in a positive way, it starts to leak out and disturb other people. That's a small version of that." So and so she's like, okay. So she gets Mr. Johnson to like pull the fire alarm or whatever and shit, right? And like gets the captain to come over, and she asked him, and I liked it because it's like she was mad for a little bit and she was keeping it to herself for a little bit, but it wasn't like some extended, like, I'm just gonna deal with it type of shit for months at a time and not say nothing. She just said it, and she just hoped the chips fell in her hand and not on the floor. And she just told him, "I want to be exclusive." Like, I still don't know what that means. Like, they go together, right? That's her boyfriend. That's what it is, right? They go together. Like I said, I think the vending machine dude was just too. Melissa seemed like she been through shit, and women that have been through shit, especially with men, and have like just focused on themselves and on their like own lives and work and their friends and stuff like that, often they don't grow a sense of how to interact with men. And so when you're really romantic and lovey-dovey like that in the beginning, it's hard for women like that to interact with you if they're not healed. So it doesn't mean don't be like that. If you like that, if you're romantic, then be like that. But if those women haven't healed, well, they're just gonna lose the romantic nigga. Like, it is what it is. Like, just like a nigga that ain't showing up for a woman, like, if the woman's healed, she's going to leave you. Like, you're not showing up the way she wants you to show up, and obviously you don't want to show up, like, you're not intrinsically that way. Like, you don't want the same thing she wants, so she's going to leave if she's healthy. So like, I don't think she was ready for all of that romantical, like, in your face, like, lovey-dovey shit, and then talking about I want to get married one day type shit. I think it scared the shit out of her. And so this dude is taking it, just going at her pace, basically. But in going at her pace, it's like, no, like, I'm still going to date other people, or make you think I am anyways, because I'm not about to sit here and get my heart broken because I like you more than you like me and shit, and you sitting up here tiptoeing around, just want to fuck and shit. Like, I don't got time for that. Like, I actually want to be with somebody eventually. So I think that's the time that the chief was on and shit. But like, whatever it was, it worked, and they decided to be exclusive. I don't know if that means that they're together or not. Like, literally, like, if you're not fucking other people, that's your boyfriend, right? That's my boyfriend. So whatever, man. Like, that's nice that Melissa has somebody that can go at the pace that she needs to go and take time with her, but also be his own person and set his own boundaries, and be a decent nigga and shit. So I was glad. And then when he like told her to get up and then he kissed her and shit, I was like, oh, that's cute. So romantical, magical for them. And then we got Gregory and Janine. So Gregory is looking for another job because his rent is going up. That's the first thing. That's the most important thing. It's not just because he's been overspending on Janine, but because his rent is going up, right? And so he needs another job to pay for that. And he thinks, oh, I got a master's, so like I should be able to get another job. He all cocky about it, you know, niggas. He's not being realistic about how the world actually is. Like I said, if you're going for a degree, you need to research the fucking shit out of that and the statistics around how easily you can get a job after college and how much money you can make before you even go to school, before you even get a bachelor's degree. Like, I researched the fuck out of that shit when I decided in ninth grade to be a therapist because I was not going to be homeless. And right now, the only occupational fields that actually make decent money is health, maybe engineering, because they still want like human beings to build shit and design shit. So like it hasn't been pushed out by the robots yet, you know, like the tech field has. So, you know, tech is like, you know, they bait and switch niggas and shit. They basically made niggas, they just had them niggas there to create AIs so then they can lay them all off and shit. And so like, you know, he's like, I got a master's in education and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I know, love. I know you feel like, I mean, like you could probably work your way up with that master's and actually become a principal of it. Maybe one day. Takes a while, you know. Be looking at motherfuckers. I was watching this TikTok video the other day, and this girl, she was talking about how do you make money as an artist? Because like she was struggling to pay her bills and all this other stuff, and she really wants to be an artist and perform and shit like that. And I was just like, you gotta be realistic. This is the white supremacist society, and I hate to sound like them old white boomer people and shit, but that's how they created the world. And yes, we should all be living on communes with other black folks and just creating and growing farms and whatever the fuck. But the way they set the world up, you gotta like have money to buy the land, and then you gotta have money to build the commune, and then you have to have money to pay the property tax on the land every month and whatever the fuck. So you still need money to do all this before you can like build the commune. I mean, you could probably go to another country and build the communes and do all that stuff, like, you know, but like you still need money to get to the other country and to get everybody else to the other countries and all that other shit, right? So first and foremost, before you have that freedom in the world, you still need money. And the way the white supremacy set it up, if you don't have a job that pays you decent fucking money, then you're not going to be able to afford the time to have peace and to create art. Literally, you need to have money to afford to create art. Now, you have famous people out here that work their way up, but literally most of these famous people were starving artists for a long period of time. And me, myself, and I refuse. No, I'm not gonna be, because I've now that I know what I have and I have neurodivergencies and all sorts of shit, I can't handle poverty like I could because when I was growing up, my mom was the one that was kind of the buffer to the poverty. And then when I was in my 20s, like my rent was like $850 for a 1-bedroom in 2012. So like it wasn't poverty, but it wasn't like where I'm at right now. So like in ninth grade, because I've always been scared of being homeless. Like I have this thing about germs. I have this thing about like being cold. I have this thing about like being able to take showers twice a day, being able to do my skincare. Like these are like my routines and shit. Like my routines, my fixations, things that like sensory things that like I can't live like that. I can't live like with no heating and barely able to eat I can't. I know other people they have to, and the way the world's set up and how it fucks up your mental health, and it's hard to struggle through college and shit for a lot of people. So I'm not saying everybody is able to do this mentally, because the way the world tears you down is like, You can't even get a decent career path started because the way the world be tearing you down. It starts in fucking elementary school. They be treating a little shit, kindergarten. They be treating little kids of color like they stupid and shit. And then they be telling the kids that they stupid, and they be telling the kids that they can't go to college and shit. So I understand that when you're bombarded by society like that, not everybody's gonna be able to surpass that regardless. But I was always just focused on academics. Like I was always focused on like getting shit done, getting my work done. And was nobody going to deter me. Like I hyper focus on that shit. Like when I hyper focus on something, I don't care if you tell me the shit's ugly, I don't care if you tell me the shit's stupid, I'm not paying attention to you, nigga. I see the results in my own life of how this thing that I'm doing is helping me, and that feels a shit ton times more better than whatever the fuck mean thing you gotta say right now. I can just walk away from you. I can just not be around you and shit, nigga. Like, I don't got time for it. So, like, I've always been like that. And yeah, I was kind of like people pleasing, but that was more in my like personal life with my friends and shit. With teachers and shit like that, I don't give a fuck what they had to say. I just knew I needed to get my work done. And so in ninth grade, I knew that grades were real now. Before, this was before No Child Left Behind. Like we could just fail our way through elementary. Or wait, no, was it after? It was during. It was like right when he passed that No Child Left Behind. So literally, we could fail our way through elementary, through middle school. We wouldn't get left behind. We wouldn't get held back. But I still had decent grades, so I wasn't even thinking about that. But I knew in ninth grade that no, the grades are real. Like I need these for college and shit. Like I need these to get into a good college, so I won't be homeless. And so I remember this. I was sitting down in one of my freshman classes. I forgot what class it was. I think it was math or English or some shit. It's in the bungalows in the back of the school. And then I started thinking, like, what did I want to be? Because at first, before I did that, I had UTI, the mechanics school people that worked on motorcycles and shit had came to the school, right, and was showing videos about working on motorcycles and being a motorcycle mechanic. And I literally watched those videos they were showing, and I was like, I could do that. I could build motorcycles and work on motorcycles and do this random shit. And then I learned that you needed to know like math. Like math. It wasn't even about building shit. It was just about learning math. And I was just like, I don't like math. Math is hard. So then I got scared because I was just like, oh, I can't do this because you got to know like geometry and how these parts fit into this part and mathematically. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to. I don't know what. And so then I started looking at my personality traits. And I was just like, okay, let me look at my personality traits first. I know I'm neurodivergent and shit, nigga. I just be thinking so logically. It works out a lot of the time, but sometimes it be making me look crazy. But it makes me look like I'm crashing out, and people just looking at me like, what's wrong with her? But I knew that I was just like, okay, I like science, but I don't like math. So it can't be a difficult science. I'm nosy, but I'm not a gossip. Like I don't care to tell people what people tell me. I just like to hear people's stories and shit because I find it fascinating. I've always found it like that's a part of why I watch documentaries all the time in my free time when I was a kid. I like hearing people's stories. I like fixing things. And so combining fixing things with fixing people, I like flexibility. I don't like sitting in the office all day, 8 hours a day, same. I don't like monotony and shit. That shit fucks with me emotionally. And I don't like being told what the fuck to do. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be made to be controlled by people. And so I put all them traits together. Then I started looking at career paths that fit those traits. And that's how I picked being a therapist. No, it literally was that. That's what I be telling people when they be like, I don't know what to do, what to be, what to do, and I just be like, look at your personality traits, what you can put up with, what you can't put up with, what you enjoy currently, what you don't enjoy. Now, so a lot of them personality traits fall into art or fall into career paths that involve being like in poverty for a long period of time, then we need to shuffle through the deck for a minute. Don't just stop at, oh, I want to paint, and then just stop there and be like, I can't paint, so I'm still gonna paint, but I'm gonna be like homeless on Venice Beach painting and shit. So you gotta like shuffle through the deck and find something that you can still enjoy, but and it won't drain you, but it still kind of matches who you are, right? And then that's what I plan my life around. Is that I researched being a therapist, and I was just like, oh, you could just you just got to go to school for a certain amount of years, and you could. At first, I wanted to be a psychologist, so I thought I had to get a PhD, right? And then in undergrad, my psychology counselor, she told me that. She asked me like, what did I wanted to do with a PhD, and I was like, oh, I just want to be a therapist. And she was just like, oh, you can just get your master's in social work, and it's easier to get into grad school that way. It's only a 1 to 2 year program, and then you just work for like 2 or 3 years and get your hours, and then once you're licensed, you can just open your own business. And I was just like, wait, I don't have to get a doctorate for this shit? No, because doctorates are hard to get into. Like a lot of the times, people just want to get doctorates in this field because they like to have the moniker of doctor attached to their names and shit. Like, I don't give a fuck about that because I can get paid just as much as them folks and shit. I can do psychological testing. I can diagnose people. I can do all them things. Like, I can teach if I wanted to. I don't want to. So a lot of times people just go get that shit because, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, some people like their whole lives dream of getting a doctorate in psychology and stuff. So there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I wanted the easiest route where I could get the exact same results without having to be in school for too much longer or have to fight my way into a doctoral program, because literally it's so hard to get into a doctoral program, and I wasn't about to do all that when she told me that. So then I just, I went and got a master's and shit. But no, like literally, like that's how I figured it out. And so this career has been able to guide me through my 20s. Yeah, I had to struggle. Like, I still had to struggle through school and having shitty ass like supervisors and being mistreated in the workplace, but I always kept my eye on the prize. The issue is that we allow these systematic issues in the workplace and shit to make us feel like we have to stay stuck here forever in this job. And you don't have to do that. So I just kept my eye on the prize, and I was just like, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to open my private practice. And that's what I did. And then, I quit my job. And so, once I had my private practice and it was making more money than my job, I was just like, okay, I don't need this. And my boss is crashing out because it's the pandemic, and it's stressing me out, and I can't be stressed. And so I'm going to quit. And then I went full time with my private practice, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing because then I can set my own schedule. I get a 3-day weekend every week. Eventually, I want to make it 4. I just want 4 days off. I don't care. But making like double the money, like rest is important. Y'all don't understand how much stress can kill you. But like, and at that point in my early 30s, I was able to afford to do art in my free time whenever I wanted to. So, and it's for fun. Like, if this shit on YouTube or my photography or whatever starts making me like money and shit, that's cool. Like, I'm comfortable though with what I got in the name of Jesus. I am, because it's only through God. Because no, nigga, like you gotta, because I can't have this shit snatched away from me. Because it wasn't just me. Because I was depressed the whole time. I almost dropped out of I almost dropped out of undergrad the last semester of my senior year because I was super depressed. My mom had died, and I was just about to. And then I talked to my counselor, and she helped me through it and shit. And I graduated. And so, like, no, that was God. God got me through this shit. He sent me my counselor. She actually gave a shit about me. This white woman, I forgot her name, but she was really nice. She wore glasses and shit. She had a little bob. Little blonde bob. She was nice. She was like the head of the psychology department at my undergrad and shit. She was cool. And she just cared about me. And she saw that I was depressed and shit. And she just pulled me into her office one day and we started talking and I was crying and it was all sorts of, and she just told me about the whole track that I was planning to be on. She was just like, no, you need to divert that to something easier. Oh, she was amazing. And so God bless her. I hope she's alive and well and doing good. In the name of Jesus. Amen. And so like that afforded me the ability to do art and shit. Like you have to, white supremacy has made this world so that you have to be able to afford peace. You have to be able to afford time and you have to be able to afford to have fun. Like none of that shit is free anymore. You know, at some point we was living a life where all of this stuff was not as expensive and we could do more, especially with art and make money. The niggas had patrons back in the medieval times and shit, in the Victorian era and all this other stuff. Niggas had patrons that would like pay artists to like just sit in their house in a special room and paint all day and shit if they wanted to and just do nothing. We don't have that shit no more. Like nigga, like if God sends me a wealthy nigga that just wants to just bask in the glow of me making art and just take care of me, you know, I still do therapy and shit because I like doing that shit. But like, I don't want to pay no bills. I don't want to think about money. And I just want to be able to trust that this nigga is not some shiesty nigga that is doing shiesty shit behind my back, because I am just allowing myself to trust that he is taking care of things financially. While I just, you know, my money is put to the side for little trinkets and gifts for myself and for him and shit sometimes. I have dreams. And so, you know, the patrons that would pay you to do art and shit just cause for the rest of your life, just cause they like your art, they don't have that shit no more. And if they do, like only rich white people do that. And so like, no, you have to afford it. So you gotta pick some shit that makes you fucking money, nigga. Like you gotta pick some shit that makes you money. And then you have to have an end goal, because the goal is to pick some shit that makes you money and like, you know, doesn't stress you out. But like it might not be that, you might be stressed out. So pick some shit that makes you money and hope and have an end goal so that you know the direction you want to go in this field. If you want to climb the ladder, what is the least stressful way you can climb the ladder? If you want to get up out of here, I think the least stressful way is just having your own business. So if you want to get up out of here, have your own business, because then you can control everything and you can start formulating your schedule so you can have a shit ton of time off. And that's why I don't like greedy motherfuckers, because niggas get to a place where they're comfortable financially, but then they want more, and so they just workaholic themselves to death and shit. Like you already are comfortable. Like why just, you could literally take off months at a time if you wanted to. You could take off 3 or 4 days a week and that's your weekend every week if you wanted to, and still afford to pay for shit and pay bills and travel and do stuff. But you want to be like a trillionaire or whatever the fuck, and so you're working yourself to the bone until you get there. And then when you get there, it's still not enough. Look at Elon Musk. It's still not enough. It's still not enough. Like, so that's that mindset. That's that patternistic mindset of greed. And like, I just want to be comfortable. Like, if I have to not have a wealthy husband and shit, like, I just want to be comfortable. And then I'll just have my IVF baby and we'll be comfortable together and travel the world and it'll be amazing. Like, cause you're not gonna stress me out. Like, I'm not gonna be stressed out. So have an end game of not being stressed out, and then decide on what not being stressed out looks like. If it looks like climbing a ladder in a company until you up there with the executives that can take a shit ton of time off and barely be at work and shit, then do that. But have an end date. Have an end date to get up there. If it looks like, you know, like, oh, I'm eventually want to still do like art on the side with my business and stuff, and like go to casting calls and paint and like put my shit out there and see if it gets picked up and then it starts making money and shit, do that. Like, but like, you got to be able to afford peace, because that's how the white people made it, and it's a horrible fucking world. But I want everybody to enjoy this peace that I have found, that I had to work most of my 20s shit 18 and 19 to get through. I had to, and also understand that you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of years to get there, because that's how white supremacy made it. You have to sacrifice your mental health in order to get. So be in therapy. Make sure that you have some shit where you can have therapy, you have health insurance, and you can have therapy, because that's what's gonna get you through them years where you got to sacrifice your mental health to get to the end game. Okay, it is. And then once you are able to do that, you're just gonna have all the freedom and peace in the world to just live and enjoy life. And it's y'all, it's fucking magical. Like, I never thought I would get to the place where I could take 3 days off a week and travel the world twice a year, and like not have to be like a multimillionaire to do that shit. Like, it's Jesus. This is a miracle, and I feel guilty because like other people be out there struggling and hungry and shit. But that's why I be telling niggas how I did it. This is how I did it, and it seems to be the most efficient way to get to a place where you don't have to be like, struggling until you 65 or 80, some stupid shit. And some folks feels like it's too late. It's never too late to figure out a goal and an end game and pivot if you have to into a different career path, and then decide how long you're willing to struggle through in order to get to where you want to be. Like, it's never too. I don't give a fuck. I met this lady in the undergrad. I always remember this shit. I think I was a sophomore year undergrad, and it was the graduation. So it was the spring semester. And it was graduation for the like class that year. And this lady was like 72, and she was like graduating. And I asked her. I was like, I think God sent me this lady, because I vividly remember this memory. Vividly, I remember what she looked like. She was this tall white lady with this short little like pixie cut gray white hair and shit, and she just looked so happy. And I was just like, you graduated today? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, how old are you? Just blunt as fuck, and she was like, I'm 72. And I was just like, what made you want to come back to school and like do this? And she was just like, well, I got married, and I had my kids, and I had my grandkids, and then I decided that I wanted to like do more and just accomplish this shit. And I was just like, oh, you're never too old. You're never too old. And the more stress free you are, like the longer you're gonna live. She could live to be a fucking 100. She could still be alive right fucking now. I hope she is living in glory to that white lady that told me that shit. That was amazing. God bless her too. I hope she is living and in the on the island somewhere, just having a good old fucking time and shit. But no, that shit stuck with me forever. I was like, can't nobody hold me down. Ain't nobody hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving, bitch. Shit. Mm-mm. That woman was 72 years old. Like, you see how these people are dying at like 53 and shit because they stressed out and shit. I was like, oh no, I want to be like her. And so, like, I say all that this is gonna be a long ass fucking video. I shouldn't even. I went on a tangent. It's the absinthe. And so I will say all that to say, like, Gregory's sitting up here with this master's degree. He's like cocky about it, and it's a master's in education, which it's really hard to get a decent job in education where you hitting six figures, and you need to hit six figures. I don't care what state you in. You need to hit six figures at this point to live. I don't care what state you in. I don't care, like, if you in America, in the United States of America, at the very least, you need to be making at least six figures or close to it, 90K. Maybe you can slide by with a 75 or 80, but if you sitting up here making 60 a year and shit, nigga, like, no. No, and that's what my supervisor, I don't know, I think one of the people at work told me that's what the supervisors make at our job and shit. And it was 60K when I started. I started a job in 2012, and that was a lot of money back then because, like I said, my 1-bedroom apartment rent was like $850 a month, and it was a decent sized apartment and everything. And so like, nah, nigga, you can't get by with 60K. You can't get by with 40K. I was making like 40K when I first started working and shit. I had no idea how to negotiate. I took that $18 an hour and I was just like, oh look at this is more money than I've ever made in my life. Youthfulness. Youthful dummy. It's okay. Innocence. Innocence. It's okay. Innocence. And so like, yeah, that education degree, they don't give a shit, love. Like you might be able to be like an interim professor and shit, but even they don't make that much more than these Uber driver gig workers and shit, nigga. Like I hate this fucking world. It should not be this hard, but that's the path I took. And it's working out pretty well in the name of Jesus. Praise God. Yes. I still have anxiety, so I'm gonna be snatched away. I don't care. You know, I need some Jesus magic and shit. Talking about I'm a Christian and shit. And I don't like magic. Bitch, Jesus was magic. Like the God parted the Red Seas. That's magic, bitch. Like, fuck else you call it? What else do you call it? What do you call some shit that is not of physics? What do you call? Okay, we're not there yet. We're not. Hate that hoe. Oh, I don't like that character. I don't care. Anyways, so he goes and gets a job, right? And then like he lies and says he's like the manager at a gym and shit, right? And so she believes him, like, because she's Janine and Mr. Johnson believes him and shit. And then during like this PTA meeting they're having, like, oh God, Tyreek irritates the fucking shit out of me. No, because like Janine comes into the PTA meeting and she's like, "Oh, okay. Do you need help with like talking and shit?" This nigga gonna push her out the PTA meeting, put his hands on her, girl. I would have jumped on that nigga and bit the skin out of his cheek, or at least have been angry enough to do that. But I would have tried to hold it in, suck all of that energy down, mask enough to be like, "Nigga, if you don't get your hands off of me, you gonna get your shit rocked today." And I'm trying to be nice. I am. But if you keep fucking with me, some shit's gonna happen. So please stop. Please. Move out the way. You go get the pizza. How about that? How about you, here's your phone, and you go get that pizza. How about you? The way he just assumed and pushed her, and you can tell like she's still vulnerable to that type of behavior, and that's what pissed me off too. Like you fucking with vulnerable people that like have vulnerable mental health shit going on, and you fucking with them. That shit pissed me the fuck off, because like I don't like that. I don't like when people are fucking with. I don't like when people are fucking with people in general. Especially when people are nice and when they're like vulnerable and shit. Like, no, like unless you're like an evil motherfucker and you doing evil shit to people, and no, you deserve to be fucked with, like Tyreek. Like get your shit rocked. But no, I'm not gonna. Whoo, shit, that shit pissed me off. But anyway, she goes and gets the pizza, but the pizza driver doesn't want to deliver the pizza to the inside. Turns out it's Gregory. He's the ride share and delivering pizza. And he admits that he was lying and shit like that. And she was just like, that hurts. And he was like, I'm sorry. And then he admitted like his insecurities and his vulnerabilities. Doesn't have a pattern of lying. And so I'm gonna let it slide because he was able to admit that he was vulnerable and insecure and shit like that. Just because somebody's on the spectrum and they can be very blunt and honest doesn't mean that they don't get insecure and embarrassed and lie. But no, like it's the patriarchy. It's the patriarchy hurting niggas, making them feel like they gotta be super providers and shit. Like he was up in there talking about, oh, I, also have to have a girlfriend, so I have to pay for her for shit. At first I was just kind of like, okay, but like, is she chipping in too? But then maybe she is, but it's like the normal amount that you pour in. Because in all reality, I just feel like financially relationships should be just casually doing shit for each other financially. Like you don't need to be too strict. You don't need to be like, there's some shit I require just because I don't want to deal with bills. So if God sends me a wealthy man, nigga, you're like a millionaire. Like, how dare you, greedy motherfucker, you? Like, I don't understand. on. Like, I'm still doing stuff. I'm making things. I'm moving and shaking. But like, no, you take care of that money shit. I just want to move and shake and travel and do therapy and like do art and just be happy. And you just pour into this, and maybe like shit'll pop off, and I'll be a millionaire with you too eventually. But like, I just don't want to think about it. But if we on the same level and shit, like, because I'm not gonna be beneath me. Like, I'm not dating financially beneath me. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Now, if some shit happens in the middle of the relationship, but I would hope I would be dating somebody that, has investments and saves money on the side. So if some shit happens, we got at least 6 months of you being jobless for you to still be at the same level as where I'm at. I would hope. But shit happens. People got shit going on. There are things I can compromise with depending on what it is. I'm not evil. But no, like, this nigga is out here like okay, so I'm not evil, and so like I would chip in. I would, it should be casual. It should be back and forth. Like, I'll go to the store and I see some shit that I think you would like, and I just buy it just cause. Like, that's casual. Like, like, sometimes you decide to pay all the bills and just randomly do it. Sometimes I decide to just randomly do it. If we're at the even kill financially, and you're not wealthy. What I do it, like I said, I'm not gonna date somebody that's beneath me. So if I was wealthy, I'm gonna date another wealthy nigga. Like, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. That's a goal. You should have the same goals or different goals, or just stick with your own goals. And I don't judge. I just know what I want. So that wouldn't happen. I don't care. That's not gonna happen. In the name of Jesus, praise God. Ashe. And so. And so, like, if we even kill and shit, like, yeah, like, sometimes you pay all the bills, sometimes I pay all the bills, sometimes we do 50-50 just because it depends on how we feeling that month and shit. Like, I don't want it to be like, because when you have issues financially and shit, like, men be like extra providers and shit, like, because society, like, this comes from patriarchy and white supremacy, makes them feel like, oh, if like that, it makes them attach all their emotions to being a provider, and if they can't be a provider and they feel like a failure and shit, and then they get all depressed, and then that's when they get traumatized and have all these emotional issues. The same way like society attaches women's emotions to their bodies and shit, and how like we get eating disorders and body dysmorphias and all this other random shit, right? And so like it fucks them up, and that's why you need to go to therapy, because you should be okay with your woman like helping you with stuff financially. Like, you should be okay if you fall down, I pick you up. If I fall down, you pick me up. Like, this is a partnership, nigga. Like, but a lot of times, that's why I hate dating, because a lot of times, because we don't teach these little boys in patriarchal societies the names of their emotions when they feel it, and we don't practice with them like communicating how they feel, and we call them gay for crying and all this other shit. They grow up not liking themselves, and then funneling every challenging emotion through anger and lashing out and shit. And so like when you attach all these emotions to providing, then like, if I can't provide, I'm a piece of shit. So even Gregory's susceptible to that shit, and that's why he lied. Because I'm a provider, and she called him a provider, and so it puts pressure on niggas when like they feel they have to be a provider to a certain extent where they forget themselves, and they feel like they have to be a provider to the extent of like, I have to be this caricature of what society says a provider is, and I can't be myself. We overthinking shit, just like we be overthinking stuff with our looks and shit, and then we got body dysmorphia and like anorexia and shit. And so, niggas need to go to therapy for that, because that's unhealthy. But that's where Gregory was at. He was just sitting up here like overthinking, and he lied. And so at first I was just like, is she like not matching him? Like, is it not casual like expenditures on each other? Or is it that she's doing the casual normal things, but he just still can't afford it? But even still, if you still can't afford just doing the normal part that you would casually put in, like, say some shit, nigga, and we can just, we might have to tighten up the ship a little bit. I might have to put a little bit more in for a little bit. Like, it is what they gonna move in together. No, because this money shit is annoying. They're gonna move in. No, because it would be cheaper. It would be cheaper. Like, he literally could move into her apartment and then they would be paying half the rent. They're in Philadelphia. Like, a one bedroom apartment out here is $3,000 in California, Southern California. One bedroom is $3,000 a month. The devil is real. How can you live off that? Even in the hood, it's climbing up to like 2,000 and shit, 2,500 for a one bedroom in like Compton. Like the hood part of Compton, because there's a nice part of Compton too. Like a I would say a rich part of Compton. There's a rich part of Compton, just like there's a rich part of Long Beach and shit. Like, there's rich parts in the hood. Like, people think the hood is just like the starving children in African countries and shit. Like, they don't have big cities like LA and shit like that out there. It's just, all of it is just starving children. Tell you, when she's ran by white supremacy, everybody looks at us like either we're just, oh, these like dogs, like, oh, I need to take care of this animal and shit. All right, look at us like we're monsters or some shit, or something, or an emotional punching bag and shit. It's fucking sickening, but there's nice parts. And so, anyways, it's like climbing up to $2,500 and like the hood. And so, the devil, but they live in Philadelphia. I feel like the rent out there. I'm gonna look it up. Because I don't want to see. Because I'm saying the way that this orange nigga and this box shaped nigga is moving, like, rent. I'll say average. Should do like the old people and just talk into it. It's hard to type when you just inebriated. Rent in Philadelphia, $1,700. One bedroom apartment. Okay, so a studio is $1,300 and a one bedroom is $1,700 and a two. So it's climbing up there too. You know what? I'm tired. I don't know. Of course he needs a separate job. And if they move in together, the way rent is climbing, they're just going to end up paying the same amount they were paying living separately based off the pay they get now eventually. Unless somebody gets a raise or a promotion or some shit like that. Wow. You see how finances just break you and shit, nigga? Like, it's some bullshit. So no, like, I feel like it is scary. But nigga, don't lie. Just say some shit. Like, we can figure it out. We can figure it out together. It is kind of early for them to move in together anyways, but still, like, that's horrible. But he tells the truth and they make up, and she calls him cute or whatever, and she makes him feel manly about his job and shit, which is like, he gotta do what he gotta do, nigga. Like, he wasn't getting no other jobs and shit. Like, the rent, a studio is $1,300. Like, like a one bedroom is $1,700 and a two bedroom is $2,100. Girl, I was watching this documentary and this nigga was talking about his first apartment and the rent that he paid. It was like a one bedroom apartment. It was in the 80s. Let's start there. Let's begin there. It was like a one bedroom apartment in some city in America, United States. And it was like $200 a month. And then like the expensive apartments were like $500 a month. And I was just like, what's going on? You know how much freer we would be if rent was like $200, $500, even $1,000 for like a nice place in a nice area with like a washer and dryer and like air conditioning and shit. Like, even $1,000 for some shit like that. What is the fate for this couple? So anyways, let's get to the part that pissed me the fuck off. So this bitch, there's this book that's like knockoff black Harry Potter book. There's this book out that's like that too. I'm gonna find it and put it up here. But like, they got this book that's like this knockoff something Harry Potter, the sassy wizard or something like that. And like Ava's vibing. She been reading and shit. Like she was reading like the Mice and Men or whatever the fuck. And like she wanted to read the sassy witch or whatever and the sassy wizard. And like here come this mom just destroying people's happiness. And like she was just like, I I don't think you should read this book. It's of the devil and because it's magic and I don't like magic. I'm like, bitch, what do you think like Jesus making the blind man see was? Like what do you, whatever girl. Whatever girl. And this is the mom that had the word bitch tatted across her chest that I was like rooting for and shit when Barbara was talking shit because she was all extra churchy and shit and she was like traumatized or whatever. But now, no, I'm just like, you're a hypocrite. Like, how you gonna come in here around like these little kids? This is elementary school. These little kids, like kindergartners and first graders and second graders and third graders and fourth graders. Let's stop right there, cause fifth, sixth, and stuff like you might be able to like handle some shit like that. They say bitch in PG-13 movies and shit. But like you got these little kids looking at your titties with the words bitch on it. They may not all come from a home where they hear curse words, freely floating in the air and shit and it's just normal to them. They can read. And so now they see that on your chest, they go home and like talking to their parents like, what's bitch mean? Like what? I seen it on this lady's chest at school. It was like going across her breasts and it was weird. Or whatever they would call it, the chi-chis or I don't know. And like not have the parents come down and say some shit. Like I wish a bitch would in real life would have it probably happens in like the hood and shit. I'm not gonna put it past hillbillies and people in poverty and like some people in rich neighborhoods that don't give a fuck. But you exposing the children to this. But I was just gonna let it ride because like like it's a fantasy land and these kids seen the word bitch before and da 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 and whatever. They actors and shit and they gotta experience shit. Hopefully with their parents around in a safe environment and shit. And boundaries are not being crossed in the name of Jesus. Amen. Ashe. And like, I was gonna let it ride. And I just was getting on Barbara's head. I was like, Barbara, why you girl? You got the audacity coming to school with little kids with the word bitch across your titties, talking about witchcraft and wizardry in a little children's book that they can use to escape into the land of fantasy and get away from the shit that they got going on at home because they still ain't got clubs for these kids and the counselor ain't came to the school yet. You motherfucking bitch. I just didn't like it. I didn't appreciate it. Like books are helpful for you and it's not okay. And then I'm just like, are we in like Nazi Germany? Like what's going on? What are we doing? Like, why are we? And I know it's just like to inform the world of why this is bad and like a friendly, childlike way and to dumb it down. And so maybe it'll reach the people that it's supposed to reach and shit. I'm not the audience that shit was supposed to reach. I'm not. So, but like, it still pissed me the fuck off. How dare you, you're fucking weird. You're fucking weird. You're a hypocrite and you're fucking weird. And so they have to have this whole like PTA. First they tried to hide the book in the library. Then the little kid, because kids like to start shit. Then the little kid go tell her where the book is. And then she get even madder. And then Tariq ass come in there talking about, I want you to put the book back in there. And I'm the president of the PTA. And I'm over here emotionally abusing my fucking, the child that I be around. Like him reads me. No, that man is no. Because when you're like that, just so freely with one person, that shit is just not an isolated thing. You're not just like that with one person. Like, no. Like, why, girl? God bless that baby. God bless that evil man is around. Evil fucking man is around that baby. He wanted to put the 42 laws of power or whatever the fuck that narcissist manual is. Why they got him around children? What's going on? Oh god. And then he's just like, because everybody's looking at him like he's stupid, like no one's taking him seriously given. But like but like ugh. Ugh, I hate that nigga. He's just fucking, I don't like that character. Ugh. I don't care. And so like they call like this PTA meeting or whatever the fuck, and they arguing and fighting, and then they start naming all these random ass books for these stupid ass reasons. I know it's supposed to be like a lesson for the white people to embrace and understand what they're doing and change, and plant a seed. I think plant hope, maybe plant a seed, and if it grows, it grows. If it rots into the dirt and turns into a piece of shit, it's up to the person. It's up to the person to choose. But ew, like books. Oh, you fucking with my neurodivergency and shit. Like I don't. Hurt my feelings so much. How dare you test? I wish you would have taken a book out of my hand as a child. I would have bit your motherfucking finger off, bitch. Like, why are you telling me what to read? Why are you trying to control me? What's wrong with you, nigga? I hate it. I just disliked it so. That woman was evil. She had an evil mindset. I know. And then you have to like teach people. They can be taught. I know. But why did you read the book yourself? Why are you going on Reddit? Why are you going on some random ass Reddit group? Like, if you tell me some book got some shit in it that like my kids shouldn't be reading, I'm gonna read the book myself. I'm not gonna sit up here and go on some Reddit group and read a bunch of shit. No, nigga, like, what's in this shit? Like, it's just a book. Like, maybe she don't read like that. Like, some people just don't like reading, or they can't concentrate or focus, or they got the reading disorders and shit. Like, but like, maybe that's why she was mad too. Maybe she got like some reading disorder. Maybe that's why they had to read it to the parents. Maybe they got like some like reading disorder or some shit like that, some comprehension issue or some shit that they never got looked into, and so they like embarrassed about it and shit. So like they like project that. Oh my gosh. So I like project that onto other people when they feel frustrated. Oh my gosh. And that's why the librarian had to read the book to them. Instead of like being like, y'all should go home and read this. That's why she had to read the book. And it was riveting, storytelling, like Cree Summer. Like, imagine Cree Summer reading to you, bitch. I'm gonna see if she got any audiobooks, nigga. Like, fuck all that. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna Google, see if there's any good audiobooks and shit. I would listen to a Cree Summer audiobook. What if she does? Oh my gosh, y'all, Cree Summer might have an audiobook. No, her voice is different and shit, nigga. Like, I would listen to that and enjoy it. That would be fun. Okay, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look that shit up. But no, fuck that bitch. Like, what? I'm trying to be a better person. I am. I mean, they had to teach them, and like they were willing to learn and enjoy the storytelling or whatever the fuck. But like, no, nigga, like, ew, it was so gross. It was so. Why would you do that to books? Like, why would you do that to books? Why would you do that to books? Like, the kids deserve to have the freedom, as long as it's age appropriate. It's not like vulgar or overly sexual or sexual at all, depending on the age of the child, because niggas was reading Twilight at like 10 years old. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. So that they could learn to like decipher through their own individuality through these unbiased stories, and they like these unbiased fantasies, like, for the most part. It just depends on the story, and like develop a sense of self through this kind of artistic expression. Like, why would you limit that for them? Like, why would you control them like that? It's so fucked. That is so horrible. I hated it. I did. I guess she learned at the end, but I just don't like her character. I don't. She just needed to learn. She probably been through things in life, and that's why she tatted the word bitch across her chest for everybody to see. And like, God bless her because ew, so disgusted in this episode. You don't even know how to. I didn't care about none of these other subplots like that. I was looking at this bitch. I was just like, you evil, dirty bitch. It's like committing murder. Like you just took away a child's ability to form a personality and shit. Like because you don't want to like read the book yourself and see if it's really like inappropriate for her and like then decide from there and make like a good decision. But then if you just determined to find evil and shit, you go every you gonna find it. Like you gonna make up some shit to say some shit is evil just to justify that you don't want your child to read this. But you know what? I just hated it. It was, ugh. Oh my gosh, this is so long for one little like what is it 20-minute episode. It's like when you watch the anime and the intro be like 20 minutes long and the episode be like 5 minutes. That's why I never watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm not sitting up here watching them fight for 20 episodes and then like 10 minutes of plot. As soon as I started watching this show, I was like, what is this? Oh my god, and niggas is like this. Maybe it's like a meditation thing, like the repetitive movement of the fighting is like hypnotizing these niggas, and they don't realize that they're being hypnotized. Oh, I'll be thinking too hard. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's good. I'm gonna think up a plan to get $1 million. Just $1 million. Let's start there. It's 1 million just sitting somewhere. Just that'll be fine. That'll be good enough for right now. Because I need to make it through these next however many years. Like I need to live. Like I need to live. I need to enjoy and be happy. And you need to have money in this bitch to be happy. Like you need to. You need to have money in this bitch to survive. And like, nigga, no. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I hope this isn't like 3 hours or some stupid. Oh my gosh. Oh, feels like a long time. I'm gonna put a timer up next time. This fucking camera don't got no timer and shit to see. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let me know what you think. Later days.